So now we want to do closing the season.
Yep.
So
sorry, I had to throw that out there. You threw out all the little 80s stuff. I'm like, I had to throw out the Whopper. That's what the machine was called.
Yeah. Yep. I remember that. So now I want to go back and look at podcast, browse episodes, season kickoff.
Yeah, so we're going to do the season close and then the season kickoff. But I have an idea for a bonus episode in between those, which we could do when we do the other bonus. I'm thinking in between seasons, why don't you and I just have like a interview each other like on how we're using AI? Just like kind of like for a Friday challenge kind of thing.
What do you want to do? You want to do that where we do the we'll close. We could do that. We could close and then do our little interview. And then when we come back next week, we would do, then we can double up again. So we basically do a weekly challenge and then open the season. That gives us a little more time to figure out what the next season is.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
I like that.
So we will close and then we will do our little challenge thing for our interview challenge, our end of season challenge, I guess we'll talk. So, okay. So what are we doing here? Oh, so we're actually open. So this is an actual podcast episode. Okay. So
yeah, closing the season.
So we're recording here. Everybody, hello. We are wrapping up. It's been a long time. We are wrapping up this season. It started last year. I'm pretty sure we started this like right in December, maybe. Like this has been going on for a while. It feels like almost forever. The world has changed a lot. And so we'll sort of go through and just like, we'll do our general season wrap up here. And then guess what? We're into, I don't even remember, season 28 is coming up next.
Well, yes, 28 is next.
Is next. Wow. So, yeah. So let's see. Oh, here we go. Episode.
Yeah, we started recording these in December, but they didn't start going out. The season kicked off in January.
Here it is. So, yeah. So it was giving me, here we go, like 27. Yeah. Okay. That's a nice thing when you have a website that actually has all this stuff. I can actually go find some of these like season blah, blah, blah kind of things. So, wow, this is going to be, we've got a lot we've covered. So, 3, 2, 1. Well, hello and welcome back. We are wrapping up season 27. Holy cow. There was a point that I wasn't even sure we were going to get to 27 episodes, much less 27 seasons. And this episode is going to be the mother of all episodes, I guess, to finish this thing that has been primarily interviews and a great round of them. We have talked to some really cool people. We've had some really fun discussions. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as we wrap this season up. But first, let me do some introductions. Here we are at Building Better Developers, the Developreneur podcast, where I, Rob Broadhead, happen to be one of the founders of Developreneur, also the founder of RB Consulting, where we help you with the technology reality check. We help you sit down and figure out what it is that you need to be aware of before you jump into that big technology move or are trying to leverage AI like everybody and their brother is trying to do these days. Good thing and bad thing. Good thing is that I am finally like getting a flywheel going, and the things that have always eluded me as far as like trying to get connections going and leveraging social media and all that kind of stuff is working, as I'm starting to get like some really good conversations and getting a lot of information out of this, and I'm building assets and building connections, all the things a growing business wants to do. The bad side is like I am spending a lot of time on these calls. It's like I've had some really long days. Right now, I guess it is really working on the business a little bit as far as building all of this stuff out and laying out all of these relationships and nurturing them. But wow, it can be exhausting when you're trying to still work in the business plus doing a lot of that on the business. So we are just in that middle period where you're like, you haven't grown enough, but you got to keep going so that you can keep growing. So eventually you can get to the point where you can now like push some of that stuff off and hire somebody or just get AI to do it, which is the only reason we've gotten this far is because Chip has been by my side on a lot of this and helped me like crank through things and cut my time to delivery down immensely. It hasn't cut down my introductory times though, but we'll see how that works in the future. Now, Michael, let's see what how long it takes him to get his introduction out.
Hey everyone, my name is Michael Meloche. I'm one of the co-founders of Developer Building Better Developers. I'm also the founder of Envision QA, where we create tailored, reliable software that helps you work smarter, scale faster, and stay in control of your business. Good thing, bad thing. Bad thing, with all these construction projects going on, last night they hit a water pipe in the middle of the yard that was nowhere near the house, nowhere near where it should have been. So we had to cut the water off and, of course, go through no water for a while until they got it fixed. But good news is it's fixed, and the new deck is starting to go in today. So hopefully they'll be done with that today, tomorrow. But hopefully going into the weekend, I can enjoy my new deck.
Well, that's always good, especially this time of year, where it's like it is deck o'clock on a daily basis. So this is season 27 wrapping up, and prior seasons we've sort of mixed up the interview process and things like that. It's sort of we haven't done in a while. We did last season, and then before that, it's been a while since we did a full blown interview season. And even last season, I think we had more. Well, we had some holiday breaks and stuff like that. We also had a few just regular host discussion episodes. This one has been much more getting out there, talking to people, getting some good feedback. And for me, I have found that really valuable. There are so many people we've talked about that are in different areas that they're focused on. We've talked about talked to implementers, we have talked to coaches, we've talked to leaders, we have talked to individual contributors, we've talked to you name it, we have talked to them, and it's all been about moving forward, about getting unstuck. And I think we have managed to beat that drum quite a bit to say, where are you at? What is your sticking point right now? And then talk to people about how to get past that. And so I think I'll leave it right there and throw it over to you, Michael. It's like, what are your thoughts on this season, or what are you looking back on?
Well, it's funny because I look at how this season evolved. We had a lot of interviews, and we started out really strong with our interviewers and talking about the forward momentum on building that momentum, how like the personal journeys, the business journeys, the different ways to grow your momentum through processes, procedures. And ultimately, we got into the AI conversation because it was kind of funny that during our journey, our conversation of forward momentum, AI seems to have leapfrogged a couple of times through this season. And now suddenly it is really helping everybody with forward momentum. And this has just been a fun journey this season. It's like at the beginning, we were getting out of the holidays, kind of needing that push to get going for the season, even though we did record some of these in December when we were wrapping up the year, but still it was all good conversations. The conversations we had about getting coaches, especially at the beginning of the year. If you're slugging, you don't know what to do, get help. Then we'll talk to other people where it's like, focus on your why, figure out your business, find that itch and go scratch it. And then the other ones were, how to keep that forward momentum going, how to keep pushing when you're stressed out, when you're in a rut. What was it? Which one was it? Not Dustin. I think it was Dr. Joseph, who was the one that was talking about kind of getting through the rut, working through that anxiety, with one of our speakers. We had a really good conversation about, yes, you can burn out. How do you work through these things? How do you keep that forward momentum going while still being in a rut? You still need to grow that business, but still, you still have to work with your current customers, but you still got to bring in customers. Lots of great conversations. Those were some of the takeaways I had from this season.
Yeah, it was really interesting how it evolved. That we started out with things like, getting like burnout and overload, and just getting small wins. Which we still talk about somewhat about, like, getting that incremental, get a win each day and just incrementally moving forward, and then it builds momentum. But it evolved, which is actually interesting because we ended up evolving through these conversations as AI sort of became more and more the topic du jour. Essentially, as we're walking through this, is that really we were not talking about getting unstuck at the beginning. As we've gotten further along, it's about getting unstuck further into the process. So it's things like, okay, I got going, but now I need to scale this. How am I going to be ready for being stuck on, I'm a developer now, where do I go? So we weren't really talking about, I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff that really got into AI is not necessarily going to cost everybody jobs or get rid of developers. It is going to force developers to grow. It's going to push you into different areas. We had some great conversations with that. We talked about that a little bit with Matt Zoltow. We talked about it with Dustin. We talked about it with Thanos. There were these things where it's like you now have to scale. It's pushing us to do more, faster, better, in a sense with less, but in some cases with more. You've got a we've talked about this now where it's like you can sit down and give a nice design to an AI tool and it can start cranking out an application for you. So you don't really have to do a ton while it's cranking through all of that. So it's going to, the reward for thinking through it, designing it, and having it execute is going to be high enough that it is something where we need to go next. And so it really was it's the things that now are where businesses are hitting. So we got from, like, let's get started, let's find a project and stuff like that. So it's now like, okay, well, now that we've got a solution, how do we make that production grade? How do we secure it? How do we scale it? How do we figure out who owns what? How do we correct the process when the software was fine, but the process itself is broken? Which honestly is the whole AI thing. Is it's like, how do we? It wasn't that AI, even a lot of times, it's not that it hallucinated or that it did stuff wrong or that it was a broken model. We're finding that those are all correct. It's we didn't tell it what we thought we told it, or we gave it information we shouldn't, or we allowed it to drift. And this is where the big thing now is not shadow spreadsheets, or somebody's got maybe even a little access database out there. Now they have entire applications they can create, and it should scare some businesses because now your data can disappear out into the web very easily and be very accessible. So you need to make sure you're aware of that and get your guardrails and make sure you have your governance and all those pieces in place. But then you also need to make sure that you're not too scared that you don't move, because you're going to have competition that is. And now maybe they're in the same place you are, but whoever moves first, whoever figures this out first is going to be the ones that are going to win this next phase, whether it's the next 2 years, the next 5 years, the next 10. I don't know how this is going to go. But if you want to be really scared, there is now a generation of children that are just getting into school that are going to, in 15 years, be in the workforce, and they have never known life without AI. Just like there are kids right now, there are kids that are, there are people in the workforce right now that don't know life without cell phones and without, internet search engines and stuff like that. There's going to be a generation that has always had AI to the level, at least we have it right now. And it will, I know, progress quite a bit from where we're at by the time we get 15 years down the road. So any other, overarching thoughts or themes that you wanted to hit on from this season?
Like you said, it was a journey. It was kind of funny how the episodes just kind of progressed from month to month as we got into the quarter. So we started out with beginning of the year, all that forward momentum, trying to work on your business, trying to keep things moving, trying to get unstuck and, find customers, build that funnel. A lot of great conversations about that. And then the one, Alex, we had the conversation with Alex, about your breaking the sprint, breaking agile, breaking your mindset on what project management tools are and how to really work through a project and track a project. And there's just so many good conversations this season. I just do like the fact that even though it was interview heavy, it really did progress from forward momentum. Really, that first month was all about moving, get moving, get moving, get your year started. And then we started progressing into, okay, now you kind of got that going. Okay, where are some places you might get stuck, how to break those out, how to start building the process to get there. So all in all, this we weren't sure what we were going to do with this season initially, and I think overall it ended up being probably one of the better interview seasons we've had yet.
And I think it is I agree 100%. I think that one more thing before I want to bring up is sort of in points of wisdom, I guess, that we've gleaned through these interviews is that one, the best conversations we had, the most insight we got when people were talking about systems and not hacks. So it's not like you just go like crank something out really quick and it's like, oh, look, I've got a new shiny tool or something like that. It is like where they went back and said, I'm fixing the process, I'm fixing the system, I'm creating a process or a system. Even the most recent conversation was about modeling his business and then turning that into a system and building the things around it. The other thing that's interesting is that as we talk so much about AI, the human skills of leadership and communication and adaptability and clarity and ownership and all these things that are, and even like when we go back a little bit before about resilience and judgment and just listening and interaction, communication, all these things, these have become more valuable and not less as AI is getting out there, because yes, AI can just do all of these things and it can, spin data back and forth, it can send content all over the place. But the human voice is really what we need. And those human skills, we need it even when we're interacting with AI. We still need that leadership. We still need to communicate clearly. We still need to design and do the things that humans do best. So I think this is a great, amazingly enough, it was a great arc for our conversations in this season. And we could have cut it a little short sooner, but it was just one of those that just felt right about here to say, okay, we're going to call this a season. Now, the interesting thing is we have no idea right now what the next season is going to be. We've I guess not no idea, but we've talked about a few things here and there, but we really haven't nailed that one down. And we'll see where it goes, because it very well may be like this one, because if it's, again, spans 3 or 4 months even, that is a lifetime in the way that technology is moving. So we will probably have incredibly different conversations as we get to the end of the summer into the early fall that we've had right now. That being said, it's time for us to wrap this one up. So go out there and have yourself a great day, a great week, and we will talk to you next season. I'll do that. And just bonus material. I don't know if there's any good bonus material. I think, actually, I'll give you a bonus material that's like a little thing for this one. One of the things I did in prepping for this episode was I went out to our website. If you go to where the podcasts are, there is a podcast catalog page, and you can see all the podcasts. And I just selected, I went down, scrolled down to January this year, basically, and selected the text from all of them, threw it into an LLM that it has a lot of development or stuff in there already. But I basically said, give me a summary of this season. And it was really amazing, the kind of stuff that it brought out. And it's stuff that we talked about. It gave me 10 things, including like how to run the podcast and stuff like that. But really, is some of the things I was trying to think back, it was great that it did highlight these things about like, where did we start? Where did we go to? It gave me, more information I've got here about that we've shared about, how this ties into the various interviews we had, which is always fun, because it's like, oh yeah, I forgot we talked to them and them and them during this season. So if you want to learn a little bit more, I would do it about pick whatever season it is. If you want to say, well, what did they cover? What was this about? Something like that is a great, quick start use of AI, is just take it and say, hey, what was this about? What were some of the key topics? It's also great if you want to go dig up some of the people we've spoken to in the past, some of our guests and things like that. We still have had nobody that has come on twice, but that could easily be something that we rectify even in the season ahead. So, anything with you before we wrap this one up and say good, put the final nail in the coffin and shut the lights out on season 27?
So if you haven't watched all the episodes, like Rob said, we've updated the website. Go out to the website, check out some of the summaries. Every episode had a summary online. So if you don't have time to watch the episodes, go read the summaries. If you find something you like, then pop in and listen to the episode or watch our pretty faces on YouTube. We got lots of stuff coming next season, so stick around, check us out, and make sure you always click that like button and subscribe.
Awesome. So, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys for all the time you've spent, that you've put in, that you've invested in yourselves, and also hanging out with us. You'll get all the normal stuff. Feel free to shoot us an email, info@developaneur.com, Rob at rb-s.com. Go to developaneur.com. Go out to our Facebook page. Go check us out on LinkedIn. Subscribe to our newsletter. All that good stuff. We were totally happy to send the content your way, and have done better already using AI to try to get you guys better ways to navigate that content and search it as well. So have yourself a good one. We appreciate you so much, and we will see you next season.